Please let me know if the screen is visible.
Yes, ma'am.
All right, thank you. So we'll be tackling the component editor. It's a tool on Infurnia which you can actually use not only to customize existing cabinets and wardrobes and save them as a template, but it's also used for actually creating different types of units like TV units, beds, etc., by assembling more than one type of furniture together. So a lot of you may be wondering how you can, customize existing cabinetry and other kinds of furniture and save it as a template so that when you add them to your design, you don't have to make these changes here all over again. You just have to make the change once. So for that, we have the component editor tool. Many of you might be familiar with it already. So the component editor tool is something that you can access in the admin portal itself. So for that, you need to enter the admin portal. For example, you can see this TV unit and this modular bed. This has both have been created by using the admin, the component editor. So you can see that this whole thing is acting as one unit, including the TV. And the same goes with this bed as well. So let's start with how to first customize cabinets and wardrobes using the component editor tool. So you go to the admin portal for that and you go to catalog and furniture. Now, supposing you want to make some customizations to your wardrobe, then you simply open that particular category, right? And then you can clone whichever of these you want, and then you will be just making changes to that and saving it as a template. So I'll just show an example. Let's take this double swing wardrobe. We'll just clone this particular group. So now this copy has been created. So you just select the settings icon against this. It's called Edit SKU. And to enter component editor, you click on Edit SKU structure. So now there are a variety of changes that you can make to this particular wardrobe, including changing the construction, the logic of construction, changing the shutter design, putting internal or external drawers, etc. So you can make changes like those. I'll just go to shutter system and I'll just change the shutter mechanism. Make this single lift up, add a few drawers in there. I can make this internal also. And lastly, I can make a few changes to construction. So basically, whatever changes you're able to make here are the same that you can do in the design portal itself here. Only difference is that once you make them in component editor, you will not have to make these changes again. It'll be saved as a template. So after making the required changes, let's say going to construction, you can change the logic here itself. Go to top on left, right? And once you have made all the changes that you want to make, this applies to both cabinetry and wardrobes or any other kind of furniture, then you should actually select save. Once you do so, it'll be saved as a different template. And then you'll be asked if you want to save this, if you want to set this preview as a thumbnail, you can check this. It'll save you some confusion and then you can click on save. Then you can go ahead and close this and you can select leave because you've already saved this. So now when you refresh this page, this has been added to your catalog. There's change that has been created. And now when you go to your design and refresh it, Then now when you select furnish, select all, uh, click on the search bar here. Now the change in the catalog is that if you type any keyword here and press enter, then you will be getting any related items regarding wardrobe in this case. Then I just narrowed down my search. And now you can see this last one here is the one that I had just made. So you can go ahead and select that. And now this change is reflecting in your wardrobe. So you can just place it wherever you like. And this is now a template that you can use for all designs that you have to come. So of course, this is what the component editor looks like. That's the portal in which you make these changes. So supposing you are making any changes to this afterwards. So I realized that I want this to be a different material. Then I can go ahead and again click on edit SKU and click on edit SKU structure. This is in case the piece of furniture has already been placed in the design. Then if I want to make any changes now, right? And then I select save again. Now it's been added to the catalog already. Instead of refreshing the page, to update these particular changes, you need to do something called refreshing the SKU. So you need to go to production, click on setting, and then select refresh cache. Now that everything is up to date, then you can go ahead, go to home, furnish, all, wardrobe, and now this change has been made. And you didn't even have to refresh the page. Okay, it's not reflecting. I'll just make a different change instead. So I can change the shutter system instead here itself. And then make it single lift up here as well. After I save that, now I'll refresh this SKU. Now when you select furnish, select all. Now the change should be made. Yes, so now this mechanism has been updated accordingly by refreshing the SKU. And then if that doesn't work, then you can go ahead and refresh the page as well. So that is how you can actually make changes to your cabinetry and your wardrobes, and then you can save it as a template. So these are the common use cases why people might want to use the component editor. Now there's also another use case for modular, like for creating furniture using this. That is, apart from customizing what we have already, you can make new units. For example, this TV unit here has been made out of multiple components, such as this tall unit, this base unit, this custom panel, and also this television, which normally, if you keep them one by one in the design, then they will not be acting together. Also, this bed, it is treated as one entire part. So you don't have to group them together. You can add all of these together in the component editor, and it'll be treated as one singular object in the design. So I'll just show you an example. So we have these two belong to a category called modular furniture, multi-purpose modular furniture. So when you go to admin portal and go to catalog, furniture. We have something called multi-purpose modular furniture here. You can see that this is where you'll be able to find things like modular beds, bookshelves, headboards, shoe racks, TV units, vanity units, etc. So how these are different from the normal ones that you might put into your design are you can actually make very detailed changes like you would to a cabinet. So you can change its component parts the same way that you'd be able to do so. For example, a 3D model is different from this modular unit. I'll just show an example here. So if I just select a TV unit, the category, then we have these 3D models that are already created. But here in this case, the only issue is that you will not be able to make the kind of changes that you would be here. Here you can do things like adding shutter systems, creating drawers, etc., putting objects as inbuilt parts. Here, the most you can do is change the overall dimensions and the color. So that's what I mean by modular furniture, modular units. So if you're looking for any TV units, beds, etc., that you want to edit in this detail, you should go to multi-purpose modular furniture here, and then you can go through these particular categories. And there are more, in fact. You can select add from warehouse. And now you can see that there are a variety of other subcategories here, such as these open units, wall mounted drawers. These are for the TV units. We even have, even headboards have been created in this way. So there are many things you can have been made and you can also edit and make later on. So this is where you can find these kind of furniture. So now supposing you open a bed, right? So this particular template, when you select edit SKU structure, and then you enter the component editor here. So now you'll be getting an empty bed, right? It won't come with any mattress or any kind of accessories that you might want to put in. So that is why you use that tool. You can actually put them here and then put them in the design. And also the thing about component editor is that this item is there, this option is there called furnish. This will actually allow you to place other pieces of furniture along with it, like a mattress, etc. This furnish option would not be there for example, your base units. So here this furnish option is grayed out. Reason being that this is not actually in the component editor format. That's what its name is, but actually this is just meant for customizing this one piece of furniture without adding any other accessories, etc. So the use case of doing a component editor is that you can add other types of furniture. So let's say we want to create a bed from scratch. So I'll just go back to this. So it's actually easier to simply clone the bed and then make whatever changes you like to it. However, if you even created a group, let's say, add a group called bed, and then I selected add a SKU here, then if you're creating something like this where you're assembling multiple pieces together, then from SKU type, you need to select user component / composite SKU. Then you can put whatever name that you want to put and submit. And now when you go to edit SKU structure, you will be met with a blank interface. And this furnish option will be activated. And we have something called, we have also this option called parameters. Now, what are parameters? That I can explain further when we are working on an existing piece of furniture. So I'll do that. This is just to show you that you can actually create it from scratch. You can even add it from here. The only thing is that you need to set the parameters on your own. So let's start with this bed carcass where it has already been set. I'll clone it first. You can see that here I've already created a copy of this, but I'll just make another one. Clone group. And then simply select edit SKU structure once again. So now let's say we are creating a bed, which is like the one that we have here with its own headboard and the mattress, etc. So let's go over how we can do that. So first, let's make some minor changes. So this particular modular bed has actually been created already in the backend by rotating an existing cabinet in the y-axis, and that's why we are able to get this kind of a shutter system like that. But you can even change this. So you can delete these shutter systems. Select this, go to customize, remove the shutter. Do the same for the other one as well. And you can first make the minor changes like adding a lift up shutter for this. I'll just change the mechanism here. Single lift up. So yes, this is now that this bed's been created. So you can see in the left-hand panel, something you would not see you'd see in this design as well, something called user component, followed by cabinet, panel, etc. You'll see the same thing here. So basically, user component is the total assembly of all the furniture pieces that you're putting together. And when you select the cabinet tab, that means you'll be working only on the cabinet related properties. And as you go further down, partition, shutter system, etc., that's something you're already familiar with. But user component is just another level that has been placed above all this. This will come into play when you're putting extra accessories. Right now, we only have this cabinet, so it doesn't matter that much. So let's say we have the starter unit. This is the bed. And now I want to create a headboard for this. So for that, in this case, I would just be selecting this cabinet. I would be going to the cabinet level to make this change, going to construction, and then selecting add custom panel. Now you can add a vertical custom panel or a fluted, etc. Just select wooden. And now for now, you can just click anywhere you want just to set this particular louvered headboard. But now what we want is we want this particular panel to adjust itself according to where we are moving this bed, this main carcass, and also resize itself according to the bed as well. So for that, this is where parameters come in. So when you're in user component, right, you can see that since this bed has been pre-created for you, there are already some parameters that are set. So this is the cabinet's width, which is currently 2100, cabinet depth, which is 1800, cabinet height, which is 350. They've even set the parameter for core thickness, which is 18 mm panel. So these are basically variables, which means in the design, they are probably planning to change these. And according to that, your headboard and mattress also should be changing. So how to change these parameters and how to add new parameters. So here we can click on parameters. You can see that cabinet width is there, cabinet width such as 2100, cabinet depth, height, etc. And the core thickness itself is also there. So these are all at the highest level, which is the user component. And we should also ensure that the cabinet has these values. Like we should assign these parameters to the cabinet so that when we put in the design, it changes accordingly. So you go to the cabinet here, and now you can see the parameters. Instead of 21 putting in the actual number, which is 2100, height, depth, etc., they have put in the name of these parameters. So let's say I was creating this from scratch. Edit skew structure. Now here there are no parameters, right? So in furnish, if I added a bed like this carcass, then I'll have to set all of the parameters myself, which is pretty simple because you just need to know which variables to set, because everything else should be changing according to those variables. So let's say I go to user component here, position and rotation. It's better to put in 0 for everything, 0, 0, and 0. 12 is put in to account for the tile thickness. So, but for now, I'll just put it 0. And then parameters you can actually set here. Select parameters. And these are called numeric parameters. Click on add new parameter. Here in this window, you can just type in cabinet width, which in this case is 2100. Select create. Always keep in mind that this is case sensitive. So if you're typing the same name into the suggestion bar and it's in caps lock, then this will not appear in the drop down menu. Then you can select update. So now this parameter has been added. You can just ensure that it's matching the ones you want. So those are how you can add parameters. Like you can add more if you want. So for now, we'll just be sticking with this one. So in this manner, the width, height, and depth have been set. So now we should be setting this panel also according to these values. So for that, we need, otherwise, when you put in the design, then if you increase the size of this cabinet, like this bed, then the panel will not change. It shouldn't be a fixed value. So we have to click on this panel here, click on furniture light unit, and first size this accordingly. If you want the height to be constant, then you can keep it like that as well. So let's say 500. So the height of this will not really depend on the size of the bed, but the width and depth will. So width, you can keep it as, let's say, the cabinet width and press enter. And now you can see it has sized itself accordingly. And you can put in the cabinet depth as well. So like even cabinet depth will not matter. So it was initially 25. So only the width matters. And then you have to set the position as well. So X is going to be its position relative to the bed. So X, if we type in 0, just put everything 0 at first, 0, 0, and 0. And then we can see what all changes to make afterwards. So now you can see in the Z direction, it needs to be shifted. So that is you have to shift it backwards by the cabinet width. So here in Z, we are typing in minus cabinet width, press enter. You have to type that in X, minus cabinet width. So now it's been shifted here. And now you want its position to depend on the height of this bed, right? So it should be shifted upwards by the height of the bed no matter what. So the y-axis is you type in minus cabinet height. Then you press enter. Type in cabinet height, not minus. And now it has shifted itself accordingly. So that's how you can set the position parameters as well as the dimension parameters. So here, if you see, dimensions, height, and depth will be fixed no matter how big or small you make the bed. And the width will change, adjust itself along with the bed. Similarly, the position is X is on this in the X direction. It will always be fixed to the bed like this. And Y ensures that it will always remain on top of the bed, no matter what the bed's height is. So those are what parameters are for. So in this manner, we can also put in the mattress. So you can click on furnish again. Uh, Type in seat cushion. Seat cushion is actually what I'd used. And simply place it anywhere that you like. Now, first we can try adjusting its size once again, the same way we did with this headboard. Furniture light unit. So height we want constant. Width we want according to this bed. And finally, depth we want according to the cabinet depth because we wanted to cover the bed. Right? So now we have sized this accordingly. Now the position also needs to shift along with the bed's position, the carcass. So X, we just keep it at 0 again. In fact, like the headboard, it should be minus cabinet width. So when you do that, it's been shifted here. Similar to this headboard, the elevation of this mattress should also be equal to the cabinet height, the carcass height. And Z axis will be, we can try rotating this. So if Z axis I type in 0, now you can see it has aligned itself properly. So now no matter what happens, now you can make whatever material changes that you want. Go to furniture light unit, customize, make any changes that you like. And then after that, you can go ahead and select save. You can set this as a preview and you can click on save. So now when you go to your design and refresh the page, And now let's say I go to furnish, I select bed, type in bed. So now this new card has been created with the mattress and everything. And now let's just test out whether the parameters have been set properly. So whatever changes you can make here, you can only make here. So if I type in now 3000, so now you can see it has, everything has sized itself. You don't have to make any changes to each and every part of the bed. You can just make the changes here. I am now putting in 1200. So now it is sizing itself accordingly. And all you need to do is figure out the right parameters to put. The logic is that I use a starter unit, which is this carcass. Based on that, just decide what all parameters, what all properties of this will the rest of the piece of furniture depend on, like the rest of the components, and then you can make the parameters like that. So this is how you can utilize component editor to assemble more than one piece of furniture together. And it is much easier if you cloned an existing modular piece of furniture, and then because then the parameters will already be there for you, so you can just cross check. But of course you can create it from scratch as well. So that's how you can create, that's an example of how you can edit your modular bed. However, there is another use case. Before that, I'll just show what happens if I were to not depend on parameters. So let's just take an example here. Let's say this bed is not dependent on any parameters. If I just put 1800, 2000, sorry, 2100, which is currently equal to the width and depth, but the difference is that these are fixed values now. If I'm typing in 1800, now if I'm selecting save, right? Now what happens is that I'm just going to refresh this cache. And now I'll try adding one. So now here you will see that let's say this was just 200, 2100, and here it was 1800. Now what happens is if in the overall user component I were to change it here, like 3000 for example, then you can see the mattress is not affected. And same goes with the cabinet depth. So yes, I just did this to show you the importance of putting parameters. So now apart from this, there is one last thing I wanted to cover was a second use case for this, right? So another interesting thing you can do is let's take this furniture, this TV unit, for example. What I have done is I have ensured that this TV stays in the middle of the panel no matter what. So what I've done is I'll just go to component editor here, leave this. And let's say I'm just going to add another TV unit from the warehouse. Hopefully this is not a template. So this is the one. So here you can see that it's been made out of multiple units. So I took this tall unit as an example, and I had the tall unit width, depth, height, etc. So when I go to this cabinet, these are the dimensions. If you take a look at this base unit here that I've put in, you can see that this also has its own parameters. So the width is independent. I've put in something called base unit width, but the depth is depending on the depth of this unit. So TU depth is same for this and for this. And I've also put something called base unit height, BU height, which is going to be another variable that I've placed for this. So in parameters, this is what I've done. So now supposing I want to place a TV in this particular custom panel such that it is placed exactly in the middle of the custom panel. So I'll just start it all over again. I'll just remove these two parameters first, TV height and width, and then I'll just update it and I'll delete this television. So let's say we are putting a TV here. Furnish. Now I go to electronic equipment. And I'll just type in TV. So we have one here. So this is just a TV that I've placed. So I'll just adjust its size, etc. So now we need to set new parameters for this TV as well. Apart from what I've placed for these, I need to create one for the TV as well. Why? Because its placement is going to depend on the height of this divided by 2, but you should also move it downwards by the TV's height divided by 2. So I'll just show an example of this. So first I'll just go to furniture light unit. X will be 0. X will be 0. Y would also be we can just place everything at 0 for now. Z axis will also be 0. So now it is flush with this panel. So now the thickness of this particular panel here is these dimensions. It's 14. So this TV also can be moved by that much. So that is going to be, Z is going to be 14. So now the TV is here and it is exactly on the origin because everything else is 0. But it's just been shifted slightly by the thickness of the panel. Now we need to set two parameters here, TV width and TV height. So to do that, we select add new parameter. Let's first check what are the dimensions of this television. So let's say height is 800, or I can even reduce it, 400 and 700. And depth will be, you can keep it as 20, that's not a problem. The only thing is I just want the parameters to depend on this. So go to parameters, add in new parameter, TV height. Put the parameter value here, it's 400. So I'll be doing the same here, put in create. So now this is there, add another one called TV width. This will be 700. These can be changed later on, but for now it has to match exactly what is here. Then always select update so that this will be taken into account. And once you do so, I'll just check if the parameters have been added. If they have been added, then you can just simply type in TV height. Normally this should register. I'll just save this and refresh it. Yes, now this has been added. So we need to put in the same parameters here. TV height and TV width. And depth will be 20 no matter what you do. So after that, now you have to set the X and Y position properly. So X first needs to be moved up by half of this panel. So the thing about these parameters is you can even put in formulas here and everything will calculate itself accordingly. So now in the case of X, right, I'm shifting it by the tall unit width first. TU width, press enter. Now it's shifted by that much. But also I need to shift it in the middle of this panel. So again, I'll type in plus bracket TV width divided by 2. Now you can see it has been shifted exactly in the middle horizontally. Now you need to do the same vertically as well. So just put in y-axis, BU height has been shifted up by that much, plus 100 because you have to, I was taking the skirting also into account. So now it's been shifted here. Now all I need to do is basically add TU height divided by TU height minus like this tall unit height minus this base unit height. Both of them will be divided by 2. And press enter. And finally, I need to take the TV's height also into account. So minus TV height by 2. So now it's always going to stay in the center no matter what happens. So why I had taken TU like this tall unit minus this, because that's actually the custom panel's height. So if I select this custom panel, go to dimensions, you can see the height of this is TU height by minus BU height, tall unit height minus base unit height. But then if it's been shifted till there, then it also has to be brought down by its own height divided by 2. So this formula you can actually keep in mind, and then you can go ahead and save it. And not only that, you can also add other pieces of furniture as well. You can add so many other accessories like art pieces and sculptures, etc. That is if you want it to be part of every TV unit template that you add. Just don't forget to place whatever parameters that you want after that, because they're all going to be acting as part of one unit. You can add this in the design also, but if you want this to come with the TV unit whenever you add in the design, then you can add it here also. So I guess this is a relatively new topic. So these are just the use cases of how you can use this tool to create multi-purpose modular furniture, edit it, and also to edit your cabinetry, etc. You can do you can make a lot of different designs this way. So this is a pretty new topic actually, so I understand if you might be a bit confused about it. So this session is now ended, so the floor is open for any questions that you might have. Yes, tell me.
Ma'am, actually, whatever you have designed, can you take the detailing?
Like the cut list, etc.
Suppose TV unit, if you are placing on the wall, it will come like generate wall section, wall elevation. It will come like full detailing of the wall. What we are placed on the wall, right? Suppose if you placed any partition kind, you have created, right?
Like this.
Not that is TV unit. That is okay, ma'am. That is TV unit. If you are placing on the wall, it will come like full detailing and all. Suppose out of wall, if you put any partition kind, ma'am.
Okay, like a wall partition, you mean?
Yeah, wall partition, not wall. Attached to wall, beside wall.
Okay, let's try out one because the wall partitions we have are
Mm.
not modular, they are 3D units. So I'll just open one. So I'll just
Yes,
go to
already
furnished.
you have created. You people only created one. I have used that one, but I want a detailing of that. Is it possible?
So let's see if is this the one you mean?
Yeah,
The
that thing.
this
Uh,
one,
no. Down, down.
this one, no?
Yes, that's one only one.
Right. So
Not
yes,
on the wall, beside wall, because we need to separate rooms, right? By using that one.
I understand. Yes, so something like this, right? Uh, yes, it's as a room separator.
Yeah.
Got it. You can create. So you want to know if you can create an elevation for using this.
How it is now? By clicking
Yes.
that. Yeah.
And then simply make an elevation. So now, if you're wondering about, so this has not been created by us. This has been added from an external source, but you can create
Okay.
this also. But to answer your question, I've
Mm.
just selected here and created elevations. Against elevation, I just select create, right? And then I just place one here, which means it's now pointing in this direction.
Okay.
So now if I click on elevation one, I think this is what you mean, right?
Yes, ma'am. Ma'am, that test note came like about values, how much distance for each rafter, lowers. That
Again, so
and that,
since this the distance, like the distance between these two, right?
yeah.
Okay, so since this is a 3D object that I've placed, we have actually put from an external source, like it's actually a SketchUp model or a 3ds model. So in
Yes,
this case, it will not really, the software will not know the spacing between the rafters. However, what you can
is
do is
it's not
create the same
possible,
thing.
ma'am.
You can create this using cabinetry. Like actually, the component editor would be a very good use for this. You can simply add a cabinet like an open unit. I'll just show
Ma'am,
you.
can you show? Yeah,
Yeah, no problem. So
thank you, ma'am.
one second. So let's say this is the base unit, right? And I click on open unit. I just create one open unit here. And it's a simply a matter of switching off certain panels, skirting, etc. So I'll just show one second. Cabinet, skirting options, switch off the front. Then we just switch off the. So just imagine whatever I'm doing, you can even do this in your component editor as well. I'm just doing this in design for now.
Okay.
And then you go to carcass and I'm switching off the back panel,
Yes.
right? And of course, I'm changing the overall dimensions as well. Let's say width is 200 and the height is going to be 300.
Ma'am, instead of 200, it came 2000.
Sorry, no, I meant 2000 only.
Okay.
It's a wall partition after all.
Yes.
And the depth is going to be something thin, maybe
150,
100.
150 is fine. Yeah.
Anything.
Yeah, ma'am.
Now you can make the same, you can change these material, and you can add as many partitions as you want. Partitions, simply go and click on add partitions. There were like 10. Simply add 10 partitions in this case. You will
Yeah.
be getting the same thing.
Same thing only, but it will come, ma'am, that spacing between two panels, like partitions.
Yes, so if you just want to know the spacing, just click inside one of the partitions.
Not like
Go-
that, ma'am. I want to like see. Suppose if you click on the wall, that elevation part will come now.
Mhm.
D with detailing. Same like that. Only this thing also, ma'am. If you give to carpenter, he might have understand, right? How much spacing is that to
I
make
think
a wall?
I'm understanding what you mean, like automatic dimensions, and you will know the
Yeah,
space in
automatic.
between.
Yeah, automatic dimension, ma'am.
Okay, I'll just check if it's live
Yeah,
yet. Annotate.
add auto
Most likely.
dimensioning.
Okay, in this case, since I've just created like a elevation which is not it's not a wall section generated one. For that, you need to go to your 3D, let's say, and wait, I'll just you can only do that. You can only see this auto dimensioning by otherwise you'll have to put the dimensions yourself. That is not a problem. But let's
Okay.
say you want to see it automatically generated, then it'll have to be generated by wall section elevation.
No, this thing I know, ma'am. But if we can't place on the wall, how it will be? Like that is my doubt.
Okay, it appears
Yeah,
that either way you'll not be seeing this. So you will have to place it. You can just place it in wherever you like, and
yeah.
then put do a line, and then simply
Like
click on
this
this
we
two
need
point,
to. Yeah,
press
okay.
escape, and yes, you will have to put that. But it is possible. You can do it.
Okay, ma'am. Understood.
Yeah.
Ma'am, that thickness you didn't add. How we see that?
Sorry, what thickness? You can add that as well.
Already you have that model, right? We have used whatever. The
Uh,
thickness, ma'am.
this one.
Yeah, that is looking like normal, very thin, right?
You can simply replace the carcass panel with a thicker core material. That's the beauty of modular furniture.
Okay, okay,
Yes,
okay.
see, if you go to core material here,
Yeah,
and you
ply.
can, right now we have, you can replace this 25 ply.
Yes, yes, yes.
Look,
Then
now we
thickness.
thicker ply.
That's okay, ma'am. Ma'am, louvers, you know, right?
Lures can be created using other methods as well.
Normal tiling and cutting, right?
Yes, yes. And we have louvers as well in as part of our catalog. So you can take a look at those too.
Sure, ma'am. I know that.
Great.
Yeah, ma'am. Thank you.
All right, no problem. All right. Let me just take a look. Okay. Yes, yes, Akash, tell me.
Ma'am, I have one query, ma'am. If you allow me, I will share the screen. Uh,
Sure. Yes, anything related to the component editor tool?
Ma'am, actually, I'm doing a design of kitchen, and there is one hanging unit in the center of the kitchen, actually above the island. So
Okay.
I have imported it from outsource, like from SketchUp warehouse. I've imported it.
Mm-hmm.
But I want to know, is it possible to make it in the admin portal like that?
No, it depends on the design of your. It depends on the design of your hanging light. May I take a look?
Ah, yes, ma'am. I will
Most
just,
likely, you will have to get it from an external source.
ma'am, this is the unit I want. Hello.
Yes, yes.
Yes, ma'am. This is the unit I want, ma'am.
The one with the plants, etc.
Yes, ma'am.
Uh, okay. This particular panel, I'm not very sure if those kind of curves can be created as yet. like for these panels that you're seeing, right?
Okay. Ma'am, can we create like a rectangle shape or something square shape type of thing?
Uh,
This round one, right? Right. Instead of the round one, can we create the like in a square shape or a rectangle shape?
Actually, ideally, we do have the a tool which can be used for that, but as of now, it is not in the like it's not in its best form to use. But
Okay.
creating these custom sketch panels and creating these forms like these rectangles you're seeing, right, using the sketch tool, can eventually be done using the component editor, but it might take some time.
Okay. 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 I got it. I got it.
Yes, right now you can use whatever is there in the catalog and assemble them together.
Okay. Okay. Mhm.
I hope that answers your question.
Yes, ma'am. Okay, ma'am. Okay, ma'am. Thank you, ma'am. We'll check in admin portal like that, ma'am.
Of course.
Okay, ma'am.
All right. Thank you.
Thank you.
Hi, ma'am. Apart of this, can I share my screen, ma'am? I have one
Uh,
doubt.
sure. What's the doubt about?
About to elevation part, not for webinar session.
Okay, I would advise that for right now we are tackling any questions related to component editor. If there is something specific that you have, like any specific query, I'd suggest taking it up in the doubt session. It'll be there tomorrow or with your respective CS agent.
Okay, ma'am. Thank you, ma'am.
All right. I think I'm assuming nobody else would have any questions right now. So it is 6. So I'd like to thank you all for coming to today's webinar. And this will, of course, be recorded and be sent to you should you need it. So, yes, I would like to close the session with that. So, thank you. I hope this was of some help to you. And good evening.
Yes, ma'am. Bye, ma'am.